Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. When asked to make a speech to this conference, I thought, what could I share? And decided to look at what we could do as members of this community that comes together every year and meets off and on as part of the International Agricultural Innovations Conference. Um, so, here are some things I thought affect agriculture today and what we could be doing for to address these concerns. The storms I'm talking about, you are well aware with. We see it today. We see COVID and we see climate change. These are the external storms that affect farmers, affect agriculture, business, agribusiness, and supply chains. And then there are internal storms as well, which are interrelated with the external ones. There are family matters, succession. How do we continue to be in agribusiness or agriculture? Plus the fact that depending on where these farms and businesses are, there's also the issue of lack of resources and capabilities. I proceed to elaborate on some of these things. Well, I don't have to say very much. When COVID hit places in Asia, one of the things that COVID disrupted was agriculture and food supply. There was the issue of food security. Then there was the issue of prices falling because people started consuming less, because people didn't go out to eat. There were lockdowns, there were circuit breakers, and so on. And the other hand, there is the lack of vaccines that ended up having deaths in farms, affecting rural farms as well. And this is one area that affected agribusiness recently and still ongoing. The other aspect is that there's changes in weather because of climate change. This affects international food security. If there's flooding, if there's cold weather, coffee prices are going up. That's part of the external factors affecting agribusinesses. And this really has a telling effect on incomes for the business, this agribusiness sector. And this calls for adaptation, mitigation, and innovation in order to get around these things. At the same time, agriculture is singled out as being a contributor to climate change through the gases that are produced in the production of food, which calls again for climate smart agriculture technology. It also calls for change in the way they do the farming and how agribusiness supply chains are connected. And interestingly enough, because of COVID, there is a slight reduction in the amount of production and therefore less effect on the climate for the interim. Internal issues that the research shows up indicates that family systems, for example, have an impact on the agribusiness performance. So in China, they found that the family system, if it is in order, has a positive effect on agribusiness performance, especially if there are favorable institutional policies. Education is another way to help rural farmers pick up skills to find new innovations to help them tide over these external factors. But it requires the family to be intact. It requires the succession in the farms to occur. It requires the younger ones not to be attracted and drawn away to the urban cities and to stay where the agribusinesses are. The other internal issue is lack of capabilities and resources. So in Ghana, it was found that if there is lack of training, technology, it can affect the farmer entrepreneurs and their businesses. The question then remains, how do you provide an understanding of the value chain? How do you provide these support factors that the farmers and agribusinesses need? Another paper shows that there's a need for top management with right capabilities, and this is from the UK. In order for the smaller agribusinesses to seek opportunities in other locations, you want to sell your produce elsewhere, like in China, Eastern Europe, and Africa, you need management expertise. And that's what the agribusiness and agriculture sector lacks capabilities and resources. Another area of lack is demonstrated in the case of Wales, where aging, access to technology and information impact agriculture. If your farmers are not able to anticipate the weather changes that come about, or price changes, or other factors that could impact what they are doing, or the whole supply chain, like freight rates going up or coming down, this will affect agribusiness. So there's a need for technology and information. And all these internal issues regarding agribusiness, family, access to resources and capabilities are all exacerbated by the COVID that we are facing, the COVID pandemic. So what I'm going to suggest, the ideas I want to explore with us as IAIC is, how can IAIC play a role in sourcing and diffusing technology? For example, we could be the repository for climate smart agriculture if we are not the ones behind the innovations, because we are in touch with the research. Could we not find such technology that could be shared with other countries that need it? We have access to information, the innovations that have been deployed elsewhere. Could they not be exported and introduced in other countries? We are the ones with the international network connected across the globe. We could do that. We have our networks of experts, and you're hearing them as they deliver the speeches and papers during this conference. And perhaps the other one is for us as IAIC and IAAS, right, to look for financing for worthwhile projects that can benefit the rest of the world. In a sense, we could be providing some form of IAIC or IAAS aid to agribusinesses. How can we play this part? We can do it because we can leverage on our researchers, policymakers, and agribusiness associations who are participants in our conference and in our IAAS activities. But instead of prescribing and telling people what should be done, like what I'm doing now, we should act. We should fill the gap, because the current gap is that many international agencies have papers saying that countries should do things, countries should implement policies, but countries do not know where to get, may not know where to get the information or the knowledge or the technology, especially if there are those who are prepared to share freely rather than only at a price. So we could fill the gap if we use collaboration. So my suggestion, therefore, is that we think about these things, and perhaps after this conference, issue a call for those who are interested to participate in ways in which we can pool the information, the knowledge and technology together so that we can freely share it or promote it to the rest who need it. Thank you.